must be clear. No, I know what it was. His hand stepped outside the lane. As far as the handstand walks, you have to stay in the white. If the fingers touch the black, it's a no rep.
One heat remains. Overall leader Ricky Gerard will be in lane number 5. Norman Colin Lubinson will be in lane number 2. Just one of the most consistent male athletes we've seen ever in this sport.
And he's so unappreciated, even though we do talk about him a lot. The greatest European male athlete to ever grace the sport, and as you said, Sean, one of the greatest ever. He's so strong, so conditioned. He has little holes whatsoever in his game, and gymnastics is one of those strengths.
Pegboard is set to start off. And goes to lane 6. It's out to the further lead with Bobby Jukic in lane 10.
A lot of the pegboards are about being smooth. You don't want to fumble around with the peg, trying to get into the hole. You don't want to get it stuck, trying to pull it out too soon. There's a very smooth, methodical pacing. One of the issues we've seen with people so far is almost coming off of the pegboard itself, getting those pegs stuck.
Jukic and Koski are full. Krennikov, Adler, Yorkov moves it now. Jesse Medeiros is on the rope. And Ricky Gerard using the same rope that Dallin Pepper did. Same style.
So what that does is it actually adds more weight to the rope shot. And when you add more weight to the rope, you can feel the rope a little bit better. You don't want a weighted rope for double lifts, but what this allows an athlete to do is they can feel that single pass. It's a lot easier to manipulate, and it's a lot easier to control.
Koski and Roman Krennikov, the first two men to single with his squats. Jeff Adler and Yorkov Lubinson are there as well. Adler just on there to down with Gerard in the blue jersey. Towards the left side of your screen.
Krennikov got one no rep just for extension from the top. Again, you can get a no rep and continue on.
Roman Krennikov, who is qualified for CrossFit the entire year since 2018, finally getting to compete here in person. And also earlier this week, he met his newborn son for the first time as Yona Koski is on to the handstand portion. Here comes Gerard and Medeiros right behind him. They are dead even. They're on the left side of the screen. Koski is in. Medeiros is slightly ahead of Gerard here. Medeiros is through. He's going to take second. Gerard is across in third. And now Roger Jukic will beat Roman Krennikov in. And here comes Jeff Adler.
There are a lot of times in that low 2 minutes, Sean.
Moritz Fiebig is across, as is Jordan Carl Rubinson.
Rubinson is upset.
Spencer Panchik, with less than 30 to go, should be able to get through here. And Willie George, at the bottom of the screen, is trying to get through as well. As Spencer is across with 15 seconds to spare. Willie George is trying to get to that yellow line. And he will make it. Yonakowski takes heat to number 4, and now we figure out the top 20 times, and we'll move on to round number 2. Send it down to Mike Arsenault.
Well, guys, the shorter the event, the more important strategy becomes because seconds matter. And Chase, you already alluded to the different ropes that Dallin Pepper and Ricky Gerard used. That heavier beaded rope on round 1, they'll bring it back in round number 3. Interestingly enough, we have the crossover, of course, coming up in round 3, something that has never been utilized before in a CrossFit competition. No one was practicing it in the warm-up area. The prevailing sentiment was, you're not really going to learn it in such a limited amount of time. Plus, to get to round 3, you've guaranteed yourself a top 5 position. Anything after that is great. So they worried about the other movements rather than worrying about that crossover too early in this event.
I don't know, did you watch the women's final? It seemed to matter a bit on that one.
Taking it back over the first 4 heats here as we had a tight race between Heather Kapelainen and Brett Fikowski. And Fikowski falls late on that handstand walk, and that allowed Heather Kapelainen to take the win.
And Fikowski got 4th in the heat, but I don't know if his time was fast enough to argue, again, for these single unders, really it's whatever gets the job done. You want to bounce on 2 feet, you want to do them all in one leg, all that matters is that it needs to be on rope.
Matthew takes heat number 2, and then heat number 3. Along to that man, Noah Olson.
And Noah Olson actually got up a lot of his time on the pistols. And obviously, we all know how well Noah Olson can walk on his hands over these obstacles. That's the thing with these obstacles. The obstacles are now nothing new, which is crazy to say. But the advancement as this sport grows, we're going to see the pirouettes, all the parallel bars, progress to the handstand. But the big race here went from the single unders to Koski. Was definitely not coasting at the end of this one. So Koski gets the win in 4. Now this is, the thing I love is that they're just taking the top 20 fastest times.
And here they are, Noah Olson at 159.65 seconds. He is your top time. Justin Ramirez will move on, as will Ricky Garrard. Through Velder will make it. Brent Fakowski just sneaking in. Only 6/107 of a second ahead of both Burton. So Burton's the last man into that field of 20. So there's Noah Olson.
You see on the right side, Pepper, who had that beaded rope earlier, is switching it out for his normal rope that he's going to use for the double unders on this.
Wes Fakowski, the black shirt back there. You mentioned that in 2019. Had a very costly fall on a handstand block that probably got a cut earlier than keep the body moving. But he survives this one and moves on to round 2 to the top 5 times. Move on into the final round. We'll take a quick break and we come back. The semifinal round of the best 3 is that. Second of 3 rounds here in event number 3, the second event that the men are doing here on day number 1 of the 2022 Global CrossFit Games. Semi-final round, the penny reps go down, but now they are strict. We have double unders in the rear leg handstand.
All right, look at the strict pec board. Look at pull-ups in general, hipping pull-ups, weighted pull-ups. How often do you train strict? If it's not, you should. The same thing is now being put into play with these strict pec boards. Double unders are double unders, pistols are pistols, but the pirouette into the handstand walk is another advancement on the challenges that athletes should be facing during the off-season. Adapt or die goes exactly along with it. Can you adapt on the fly? Are they worried about the handstand, or are they going to skip past the crisscross and the double? Unbroken or bust is the element that we see trip up people in a major way so far in this event.
Just the start list for the first of 30 here in round number 2. Brent Fakowski flirted with disaster in the first round, going down to number 9.
Definitely not the start Brent has wanted. He's finishing at event number 1. His fall in the first round might be the wake-up call he needs to get back to the Brent Fakowski we know he is.
And you have one of the tallest athletes right next to the shortest athlete in the field, Brent Fakowski, right next to Colton Burns. The two of them separated by just 6/100ths of a second in round 1.
The men will have to do 2 of the strict pegboards. The women have done 1. And the big test here is just that upper body strength and stamina. The ability to go through this. Talked to some coaches about their athletes coming into this. Caroline Lambre, who was Jeff Adler's coach, said, if you haven't been practicing things like this, you've missed the boat. Right? She said specifically is when wall walks were unveiled last year, it opened the door to the past. Right? Strict anything. The big thing is like, CrossFitters, they're natural kippers, right? It's like fried food. I'm going to take a movement. Can I kip that, right? Can I fry that? Who knows? The opposite should be true. Can you do that strict? How heavy can you do that? Can you do whether it's pegboards, toes to bar, rope climbs, how can you make a simple movement easier or more challenging? And you can do that with distance, you can do that with implements. And what I think we're seeing here after this event is that the playbook that has always been the playbook, people are starting to go back to chapter 1. The basics of gymnastics, things you have to learn. Fitness in 100 words. Pressing the handstand is in there. Pirouettes are in there. These are the things you went into open gym with your buddies.